Hi, welcome to the Wavy Digital Desk. Thanks for joining us. We have meteorologist Steve Fundaro here today, and we're going to be talking about the warm weather that we're experiencing. I'm going to bring Steve in. I know that we were talking to you all about 2 weeks ago about the winter weather that was quite cold that was coming in, so this is definitely a change from that conversation.
You know, winter is a fun season around here. Gets everyone excited for the potential of any sort of winter precipitation. Granted, I mean, last year we had 2 little bouts of some snow, and it's not all that often we get big blasts of cold air and chances for snow, so we kind of get excited in the winter season. But the winter season around here at our latitude where we are on the globe is really prone to wacky weather, you know, the ups and downs in the temperatures and the roller coaster rides that we tend to see almost like week after week on our 7-day forecast. And that's kind of what we've got and have had for the past week or so. When you have the situation we do for the season, for our climate, it's kind of prone to these active patterns where you get big blasts of cold air, and then in the same way the atmosphere works as a seesaw, so whatever goes down has to come up. So we are now on the upside of pretty much what we experienced 2 weeks ago when we dealt with a temperature of 24 degrees on Christmas Eve. Tomorrow we're likely going to hit a high of, let's say, 73. So there's like a good little pocket of some warm air in spaces over there. I got a few graphics too, Sarah, if we want to punch up
absolutely.
max 2.
Okay.
3.
Here, we'll try.
3. Let's do 3. Yeah, there we go.
We'll go to 3.
So it kind of acts as a little seesaw. And I think those who are used to it around here at Hampton Roads kind of enjoy it, because we get a little bit of everything. We get, like, I mean, yesterday, 2 days ago. Were you out and about on Sunday at all?
I was.
And Monday?
I got to enjoy every day, which has been great. Yesterday, got to sit by the water.
And it's fantastic.
It's great.
Yeah, and the water's a little chilly, but if you're out there and it's 70 degrees out, it feels beautiful. So I think everyone gets a little taste of some warmer weather, and they do enjoy it. Those winter weather lovers, myself included, who like some cold conditions, when you have these swings in the weather that go up and down all the time, it's the saying is, if you don't like the weather in Hampton Roads, wait a day, and that's pretty much the case. We'll keep it warm for tomorrow. We'll likely see temps in the low 70s, near 70 degrees, but that's a good sign that change is on the way. When we deal with wacky 7-day forecasts, usually like the seesaw effect, whatever goes down must come up, or whatever's up must go down. We're on the upside, so we're warm. And there's rain on the way for tomorrow. There's going to be a cold front that blows through, brings us some scattered showers, maybe a couple thunderstorms, since we'll be so warm in the low 70s. And then it's a cold front, so on the backside of the cold front, the cold air, you know. So it's
we're seeing a drop.
Yeah, and we're seeing a drop again. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, can't make up your mind. Just kind of how winter works around here, especially this year. We have a progressive pattern. I will say that tends to favor stronger systems, or tends to favor bigger rainmakers or potential colder systems. So it is, I wouldn't say totally favorable, but it keeps the idea alive for a better chance to see any sort of winter precipitation. So I know what snow lovers like that idea.
Yeah,
so
I'm just waiting for someone in the chat to ask, when is snow expected next?
Yes. When we have kind of active patterns like this, it's not far off. You know, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 days in January that are 70, 75 degrees. You know, a couple weeks later, it could be bitter cold again, and we could be talking about snow in the forecast or potential wintry weather. So these kind of wacky winters, especially around here, I think we're used to them. And if you've just moved here, I guess get used to it, because you'll like it, because it gets everything. I mean, I love it as a meteorologist, because the past 2 days, 70 degrees out, walking the dog.
Absolutely.
Didn't need the hat, didn't need the glove. I'm like, this is great.
One day you can be in by a fire, and the next day you can be outside running around by the water.
Yeah, so I don't think any of us are complaining all that much. And it's unlike the spring, where spring we got to deal with the allergies, so that kind of plays a big role.
Right.
Winter here, if you know, most of us don't deal with winter allergies, so when it gets warm like this, you could give your heat a break, give the AC unit a break, open up the windows, let some fresh air in, when you don't typically get to do that in winter. So I would say just thoroughly enjoy the rest of the day tomorrow before the rain moves in, and by the weekend it'll be nice, but it's just back to winter standards.
Right. And so I think, you know, we talked about this and you just mentioned it, but this is fairly normal. So can we expect this sort of roller coaster to continue, through the winter, basically into spring?
Yeah, January, February tend to do that. I mean, really, December, January, and February tend to do that as well. Next week is kind of looking a little stable, so to speak. Next week is looking a little bit more like just a classic January week in Hampton Roads, which would be temps near 50 degrees, chilly in the mornings, things like that. And that's our average high temperature this time of year. Early mid-January is the coldest we are, where our afternoons are usually at 49, 50, 51 degrees. So talking about highs today near 70, tomorrow in the low 70s, that's 20-ish degrees above where we should be. So that is, really, we're not just talking about a day in the 60s here. That's kind of like a significant warm day. But when we get back to the standard around here, it's like, oh man, that's really cold.
Right.
It's like, well, it's just, you're used to being warm. But I think next week should be, as of now, it looks a little bit stable, so to speak. But that's not saying what could come later on in the month.
Well, it's a little winter weather treat for everyone. And I just want to make sure that everyone's questions are in. If they have any, people around here might be used to it, but just, still interested in sort of the winter weather that might be to come. But
if anyone's in there, drop a comment or two, and we could always go back in there and always ask a couple questions too as well. I would say tomorrow just be one of those days to watch and just pay attention to the weather. Some of the showers and some of the thunderstorms we could be on the stronger side when we get warmer weather in the winter months that we aren't so used to see, or we typically are not supposed to be at 73, 75 degrees. So whenever you get that, it tends to feature some things that may be a little bit more dramatic here or there. Just everything's a little bit more exciting, so to speak. So there could be a couple thunderstorms that could be on the stronger side tomorrow. If I'm recalling back 2 years ago, it was Christmas Eve of 2020, and it was super warm. December, Christmas Eve, it was like 70-ish degrees, all the way up through when Santa Claus departed. And it was like 11 p.m. and it was still 70, 71 degrees. And we had significant amount of severe weather. There was a tornado warning in Suffolk, so it was just kind of wacky in that regard. So whenever it gets kind of warm like this in the winter, at some point there's like a breaking point, and it's like, okay, something's going to change. Something's coming, and that'll be tomorrow afternoon. Nothing too bad, but just some showers and a couple thunderstorms to kind of shake things up a little bit.
I think with the thunderstorms and wind or rain, I think people sort of gear toward, is this going to affect electricity? Is this going to affect anything like that? Sure.
We don't anticipate any big wind or anything like that. Now, there could be a few thunderstorms that, again, may be on the strong to potentially severe side, which severe is the category for anything damaging, but it's a very isolated risk. We're not too concerned or worried about it over in the weather department. We're not looking at big time, widespread storm activity or no widespread power outages or anything like that. We'll just get a few showers to kind of slide in, a couple rumbles of thunder here or there to remind us, like, we don't normally get thunderstorms in the winter either. Yeah, so it's kind of like, oh, feels a little bit more like spring or fall. So kind of a treat in that regard. But just be safe around tomorrow afternoon and evening. And then it's just back to that chilly air, which I think I'm excited for by the weekend.
Well, I guess if you're taking your Christmas tree out, today is the day to do that.
Today would be the day to do it. Tomorrow morning, if you've got time, if you've got the day off, or if you're like my wife and I, we're just probably going to wait till the weekend when the sun comes back out. It's just going to be a little bit chilly.
I think that sounds better. And you got to enjoy that tree just for like a few more days.
Hold it out a little bit as well. Are you quick to take down the holiday decorations or no?
We're not. I wouldn't say that I wait until, the next holiday, but I do linger a little bit.
You want to let it linger just a little bit more.
I'm in that 12 days of Christmas range.
Starting on Christmas, right?
Yeah, I feel like that continues.
Yes. It's good.
Yes, it's not too upsetting that way.
No, and it'll feel like, the time of year, January by the weekend. So if you're taking down any holiday decorations this weekend, I think that's your best bet to do so.
Well, as Steve said, put your questions in the chat and we'll go back and look through them. And also in the chat, if you could just let us know, what weather topics you want to hear about here. We have the luxury of time here. So if there's something interesting to you, why not put it in the chat and we'll see if we can get that conversation in at some point.
Yeah, and drop any ideas over to Sarah or I on social media. She's our digital producer here, so she's tracking it all on social media. If you have any kind of awkward questions or interesting things about weather or about the environment around here, send them over to her, and we could always set up some time to talk and just kind of answer some questions to about the
Absolutely.
community. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We'll be back with our weather chat next time. Thank you.